Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and this is where we talk about all things books. Today I am doing a Thanksgiving book tag. Okay, so I decided to do this book tag because Thanksgiving is in just a few days and I just wanted to. It is something that would be quick and fun and simple for me to do and get uploaded without a whole lot of editing, just for me to get a video out this week. Plus, I thought it would be fun, and who doesn't love Thanksgiving food? This is actually going to be my last November video. I'm not going to be doing any more videos this November because I am going to be preparing for December, which, you know, December is Bookmas. There's a lot of people doing the reindeer readathon as well. I thought about doing that, but I haven't decided yet, and I think it may be too late to join, but I think I may just stick with doing the Bookmas because I can do quick and easy videos every day until Christmas, and I'm okay with that. So let's get started with the book tag. I also will put a disclaimer. The original creators created this. I don't remember their names, but I will link their video below in the description. And I did change a couple of these prompts up because I couldn't think of anything to put. And it's not that big of a change, but I just put a little bit of my own spin onto some of these things. And you'll see why. So for the first question, it is bread. And it is asking, what book is purely fluff and has no real plot? For me, I couldn't really think of anything. Nothing really came to mind, and so I decided to change this one to be, what is a book that is warm and fluffy? Because, you know, bread is warm and fluffy, and when you put butter on it, it just gives you one of those, just that warm and fluffy feeling, and you know, warm, cozy bread. Yeah, that. So what is a book that gives you a warm and fluffy or warm and cozy feeling? And the books that I chose, I have two of them for this one, and that is Faking Christmas, because it is so sweet and warm and cozy, and they're in a cabin and all of this, and it's just fluffy as well. The romance in it, they go from enemies to lovers, and it's just cute and warm and fluffy, and I loved it. And then the second one that gives me those warm and fluffy romance vibes is North and South. Now, the whole book itself is not warm and fluffy, but the romance in particular gives me those warm feelings. Again, they go from, I guess, enemies to lovers, but I enjoy it. It gives me warm and fluffy feelings. It's a very cozy read for me. It is a book I read at least every year, if not every other year, or you know what I'm saying. But I love that book. It's warm and fluffy for me. It may not be everybody's warm and fluffy, but for me it definitely is. Now, number 2 is Turkey. What book made you fall asleep? Now, this one was also hard for me because typically that's not an indicator for being a boring book. Typically that's an indicator that I'm so exhausted and I got very comfortable while reading and I started falling asleep. It has not, for me, it has nothing to do with it being boring and everything to do with the fact that I was just exhausted and so I fell asleep. So that one for me doesn't really mean that I fall asleep because it's boring. So in that terms, a book that is boring that would make me fall asleep, or a book that I didn't enjoy that would make me fall asleep if I tried to read it, was the first one was The Lord of the Flies. I didn't really care for that one. It was very boring to me, and I believe I didn't even finish it. And the second book, I did finish this one, and I read it in high school as well. It was kind of boring to me, and I really don't understand the hype for it, so it's Wuthering Heights. I know a lot of people enjoy this book, but it was not one that I was very interested in. I don't really know. I don't remember if I fell asleep during it or not, but it did take me longer than normal to read it. So I do know that much. Number 3 is Gravy, and that is what book makes the whole series worth it. And I don't really have a book for this one to make the whole series worth it, but I do have a book that is absolutely worth it, and that is Codename Edelweiss. And I just read that one and I loved it so much. It is definitely one of my favorite books now. I'm probably gonna buy the actual physical copy because I listened to it on audiobook, so I'm getting the physical copy of this one so I can also read it physically. So there's that one. And then number 4 is stuffing, but here in the South we don't eat stuffing, we eat dressing, okay? Dressing is superior to stuffing, okay? I'm just saying. I've had both. I've lived both in the North and the South, and stuffing is not very good. It's just not. Dressing, that's where it's at. Absolutely. So, dressing, what book is stuffed full of action? And for this one, I actually have the books and I did not get them down. So I'm going to put my coffee down and grab them. Okay, so Ember's End and Ember's Rising. These two have so much action in them. I love these books. And then I also have this one too, Mistborn. So we also have Mistborn. So Mistborn, Ember's End, and Ember's Rising, which is the 3rd and 4th book of the Green Ember series. And, you know, everybody knows Mistborn. If you don't, all of these are action-packed and so much fun. I enjoyed these. And in fact, I even see a lot of similarities between the two of these series. I just love these books. Okay, so a lot of action in those. And now for number 5, which is mashed potatoes. What book looked good but wasn't? I'm not really sure why people say that mashed potatoes looks good but is not good. If mashed potatoes aren't good, you're doing something wrong. You must be eating the box mashed potatoes, because box mashed potatoes are gross. Real mashed potatoes, now do those and those will be really good. Anyway, the question was what book looks good but wasn't, and I have 2 for this one also. And the first one is The Heart of the Sun Warrior. I thought it was beautiful, the cover was absolutely gorgeous, and I was severely disappointed with the book. And then the other one was Once Upon a Broken Heart. Again, the cover is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I'll put both of them up here so you can see how I just hit the wall. I'm going to put them both up here so you can see the cover of both of them and how beautiful they are. And I was just so disappointed with both of these books, and they just weren't good to me. And now for number 6, which is Cranberries. What book has the sweetest romance? And for this one, I actually have a few because I could not choose. There is this one, When the Leaves Fall in Paris. And then I have the manga that I've read, which is My Happy Marriage. That one has such a sweet romance in it as well. It's also gut-wrenching, the stuff that the main female character went through. And then there's also Snow White with the red hair. That one is very sweet as well. Did I say white hair? Snow White with the red hair? I can't remember. Snow White with the red hair was very sweet, and I loved that one so much. I'm still reading it, and I've been reading it off and on for a few years now, but I just usually wait for the chapters to get like several months ahead so I can just binge read it. Anyway, I read that one several years ago and I still love it. I still think it's really sweet. And next is Corn, which is what is the corniest book you've ever read? I have 2 for these, and one of them I have, which is Heart of the Sea. Now, I did enjoy this one for the most part, but the romance in it to me was very corny. And I hate to say that, but the male character winks a lot. And I thought it was just so kind of cringy, corny, creepy type thing, because what guy winks every time he's talking to somebody? It's just, there's a lot of winking in this book, and I thought it was just so corny, okay? And the rest of the book I really enjoyed, like the relationship between the sisters. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Then I have number 8. Oh wait, I forgot. The second book that I thought was corny was a book that I read, that I started reading, and I have not finished reading it, and I may not, because it just honestly got to be so corny that I'm not really enjoying it. And it is My Night Before Christmas. It is a romance book. It is, I got it off of Kindle for free, and it's not my type of romance book. It is very, very corny. It has all of the typical tropes in it, and it's just not my cup of tea, but it is very, very corny. It's very sweet and it's clean, so I do like that about it. And so yeah. And then the number 8 is Green Beans. What book is too long and needs to be shorter? I have 2 for these as well. And the first one is Heart of the Sun Warrior, which, if you've watched my review, you know that to me, I felt that there are parts in it that didn't really further along the plot and were just thrown in there to add more to the story, but didn't really do anything with the story. And it just, to me, I felt like those parts could have been taken out and the book could have been shorter, and it could have been changed just a little bit. However, it's not that bad of a book. It just, I was just disappointed. I wanted more. I wanted the book to be more like The Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and it wasn't. It was a little different, and so that's where that came from. And another book I thought needed to have been shorter was the Daughter of the Pirate King series. The first and second book, I'm not sure there's a third book, but I know there's at least 2. The Daughter of the Pirate King and The Daughter of the Siren Queen, both of those I felt had unnecessary things in it and a lot of repetitiveness that needed to have just been cut down, and both of those books smashed together, and it would have been a better book for me. But the constant repetitiveness about how she is better than other pirates and never follows through with that, always fails and gets caught and always is tricked in some sort of way. And so all of her training that she's had from her dad, who's the Pirate King, never really played any kind of part, even though she bragged about it all the time. It just, to me, it felt unnecessary having all of that repetitiveness in there, constantly being in there every other page, it felt like. And I feel like it could have been a lot shorter and it would have made it better. Now, the last one is Pumpkin Pie. What book do you read to get out of a reading slump? I don't really have a book that I go to read to get out of a slump. Typically, when I'm in a slump, no matter what I read, it's not going to do it for me. None of it is. So I typically just bounce around until I find something that catches my attention and pulls me out of it. And so typically that will lean more towards historical fiction or romance, and sometimes fantasy. I've seen like the Green Ember series got me out of a reading slump, a bad, like, years-long reading slump where I didn't want to read anything because nothing was doing it for me. And I found the Green Ember when I was reading it to my kids, and I instantly fell in love with the first book and just wanted to devour the rest of them. And I still have to get the other 4 books that are in this series and read those as well. And that is on my plan to do once my kids and I finish reading the Wing Feather Saga, which is over there, we are going to be going back into the Green Ember and reading those 4 books because I want to read them and I know they'll enjoy it as well. And the other book that recently got me out of a reading slump was Codename Edelweiss, and also this one, Until the Leaves Fall in Paris. These two, this one started pulling me out of it, and then I went from this one and went to Codename Edelweiss, and man, yep, both of them, they pulled me out of that reading slump, and now I am ready to read books. I'm so excited to get back into reading books. But yeah, that's everything. Those are all of the questions. I do realize that a lot of these were a little more on the negative side, and as I was writing it down, I did realize that, but there's nothing I can really do about that. I didn't make the questions. So there's that. I will say some of my favorite books were in here, such as Mistborn, the Green Ember series. These are the last 2. I've got the 3rd one there. I actually don't have the first actual book. I read the first one aloud to my kids on Kindle, and then I have this book, which is my another favorite, and then yeah, so a lot of my favorites are in here, and a lot of my least favorite books are in here as well. So I guess it was a pretty good mix. I hope you enjoy it, and if you are watching this, consider yourself tagged, because I did not write down anybody's name to tag for this Thanksgiving one. So if you're in America and you celebrate Thanksgiving and it's not too far past Thanksgiving, consider yourself tagged and do this one, because it's actually pretty fun coming up with things to these prompts. And I will see you all next time. It's going to be a little bit before my next video because I'm not going to do another one until I start December. So let's get started. December is right around the corner and I am not ready. I'm not ready for December. I'm not ready at all. But I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye.